The topic for today is cloud readiness assessment, and this is topic of cloud computing for business. Code for this subject is KMBIT-03. Okay, so about this topic, you may refer for following references first is your textbook, second is your reference book, as well as there are these three good blocks that you may refer for further study about the topic cloud readiness assessment. Means how to assess your readiness towards cloud, towards deploying cloud basically. Okay, so what is cloud readiness assessment? A cloud readiness assessment provides an organization with the clarity of vision and concrete steps required to successfully adopt cloud. Okay, as cloud agility and elasticity are increasingly being sought after by companies, a formal organizational review and cloud migration assessment serves an invaluable functions for achieving these goals. ERP, as while we implementing ERP, we also assess that whether we need ERP or not. Similarly, while adopting cloud environment, we will assess that whether we are ready towards adopting cloud or not, and what are the functions that you should incorporate, or you should means in which you should implement this cloud environment, cloud based environment. Some confidential departments, are we don't touch it, or we don't connect it through cloud. Okay, HR and this finance accounts department are very much crucial. So most of the companies are mapping cloud environment except these two functions. Okay, so this is your responsibility to assess whether you are ready to adopt cloud or not, and what are the various business functions that you should implement through this cloud based environment. Okay, so a cloud readiness assessment is an overarching process that encompasses organizational readiness, application discovery, and application assessments. Okay, so the primary goal of cloud readiness assessment is to provide you a gap analysis. Basically, you will perform a gap analysis, means what is expected outcome and what are the actual outcome, and what are their gap. Okay, gap in between these two, expected as well as actual. Okay, so gap analysis of your organization, and how will you fill this gap through this adopting this cloud environment, and a list of applications that can be moved to cloud smoothly. I have told you that you will identify the business functions that you want to implement with this cloud based environment. Okay, so you will see, or you will prepare a list of applications that can be moved to the cloud smoothly. Okay, and following a perspective cloud application assessment process. Okay, so this is basically cloud readiness assessment. So what are the various steps of cloud readiness assessment? These are some steps. So the steps involved in cloud readiness assessment will vary from organization to organization. It differ from organization to organization, and even person to person, because every person has its different mission, vision, and objective. Okay, as per regarding their business practices. Okay, so in fact, the first step is assessment should be to agree amongst the team on the assessment process and its steps that fit the organization, and to determine whether or not to bring in an outside third party to assist. Okay, means you are required to decide whether you will deploy an internal team, or you will deploy an external team or outside third party to deploy this cloud based environment. Okay, so in general, a cloud readiness assessment will involve these 5 steps. First is identify the scope and business cases for migration. Okay, what are the areas where you actually required cloud based environment? Okay, and what are the business cases for migrations? Means you will study others cases also, means how they have migrated, like your competitor have adopted this cloud based environment, or some other players also have adopted this type of environment. So what are the various advantages associated with it, whether it is advantageous for you or not, so that you will assess in this step. Okay, means you will identify the scope and business cases for migration. Okay. Next is evaluate available in-house resources. What are the various in-house resources? Means what are the various skill person that are that we adopt in-house within my organization to help in this field. Okay, so evaluate the available in-house resources. Means what are the various resources that are available in terms of hardware, in terms of software, in terms of people. Okay, and other resources, so that you will evaluate. Okay, next is assess the infrastructure requirement. Means what are the various infrastructure requirement, what are the means as I have told that there are infrastructure as a service available, software as a service available, and platform as a service available. So what are your infrastructure requirement, whether you want a ready-made solution, so for that you will look for that software as a service. Okay, and whether you look for means you need platform and you will develop your application, so for that you need platform as a service type of infrastructure. Okay, and whether you want just basic infrastructure and you will develop your platform as well as this means application. So for that you will access infrastructure as a solution. So access the infrastructure requirement. What are your requirements basically? Like in case of while we using this web hosting solution. Okay, so there are shared web hosting solutions, so that are means lesser costly because you are sharing your web hosting with other persons also. Okay, and while you want exclusive, so for that you need to pay much. Okay, similarly, if you want software as a solution, so for that means you want ready-made solutions, so for that you need to pay more. Okay, in comparison to that, this IaaS or PaaS, means infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. Okay, so you should access this infrastructure requirement over there. Next is access security requirement. What are your security requirement? What type of data you are taking care of? Is it confidential or is it generalized data? So you should access your security requirements. Okay, means what are your requirements basically? What type of data you are having? Okay, and what type of data you are means implementing through this cloud based environment. Okay, so determine, next is the last step is determine timeline and budget. Means what are the timeline basically, what are the various steps of adopting this cloud, how fast you will adopt this cloud to get better advantage of cloud, as well as budget constraint also there, so that you will determine. So these are 5 steps to check whether you are ready to adopt cloud or not. So cloud readiness assessments, these are the 5 steps. Okay, so we will discuss it one by one. So first is this: identify the scope and business cases for migration. Means an organization should make sure it knows why it wants to migrate to cloud and to what degree. So the business cases for migrating to the cloud can include like cost avoidance of replacing hardware and maintaining data center, scaling resources so that they become simpler and faster, and improve data resiliency with disaster recovery and backup services. So what is basically scope and business cases? So you will discuss cost avoidance for replacing hardware and maintaining data center. Means you will earlier in a traditional ERP system or traditional information system, you are supposed to maintain that data center within your organization's premises, as well as you need to maintain hardware part also. And while adopting this cloud environment, you will means replace this hardware and maintaining data center with that cloud vendor that you have adopted. And this will reflect means in terms of your cost saving or cost avoidance. Okay, similarly, scaling resources so that they become simpler and faster. Scaling means scale up resources and scale down resources. Like some months are there in which you are exhausted enough, like closings are there, So at that time you need to scale up your resources, as well as some period are lean periods. So at that time you need to scale down your resources. So that flexibility is that flexibility you may get through the cloud based environment. Okay. Next is improve data resiliency with disaster recovery and backup services. Okay, so data resiliency you can get disaster recovery in case of any disaster. You can get your data, as well as backup services you are opting for means you can access your data through any of the device that you may use. Okay, and from anywhere across the globe. Okay, so that is possible just adopting this cloud. So you will identify the scope and business cases for migration. Okay, means what are the area, what are the business practices that you need to adopt or implement through this cloud environment, as well as what are the various business cases for migrations. Okay. Next is evaluate available in-house resources. So as I have told earlier, you will access this hardware requirement, software requirement, as well as people. Okay, how many skilled people you are having within your in your organization. Okay, so next, an organization should evaluate its in-house resources. Means what available funds are there? Do IT team have right skill set? Do IT team have enough availability to focus on cloud migration, or are there competing priorities? Okay, so means you should assess your resources, means how much resources you are having. Okay, to implement this cloud based environment. Okay, to facilitate this cloud based environment, to ensure the best practices are applied to the cloud migration. IT staff that are inexperienced in cloud migration need to learn how to do it and talk to peers with experience. Means you need to develop a quality circle type of environment over there to get learned your IT staff as well as IT employees to facilitate yourself during cloud migration, and as well as after adopting this cloud based environment. Okay, so it is also important for an organization to identify the weak points of its IT team's knowledge base and educate them accordingly. If you find that you are having unskilled or semi-skilled employees that are not much aware about cloud-based environments, so at that case you need to train or educate them as per your requirement. Okay, so that you need to assess, or that you need to evaluate while dealing with this cloud readiness assessment. Okay. Next is assess the infrastructure requirement. So what is infrastructure requirement? Basically, an organization need to do internal research into its IT environment and infrastructure to determine what applications, data, and other workloads it has that either make sense to move to the cloud, can stay in the organization's own data center, or can be removed completely. With this knowledge, an organization knows what its requirement are for its future cloud environment. Okay, as earlier, lot many ERP companies are there. Okay, or infrastructure information system companies are there that are adopting some different type of information system. Okay, so you need to assess that what are the resources that you are having, and what type of means business solutions that are you going to adopt. Okay, so you need to assess your infrastructure requirement, as I have told earlier, whether you are looking for a ready-made solution, whether you are looking for a platform, or whether you are looking for only infrastructure and you will build a platform as well as application part over there. Okay, so that you will decide. Okay, planning how applications will be moved in is important as well. When performing a cloud readiness assessments, applications will usually need to change for the new architecture. So approaches ranges from minor change to the core of an application to completely rebuilding an application, to instead opting to use a software as a service application. Okay, means that you need to decide whether you will go for this software as a service application, or you will rebuild your application, or you will modify your application. So what type of requirement you are having, so that you need to decide. Okay, Next is assess the security requirement, because security is utmost concern while dealing with this cloud-based environment. Okay, so government and industry regulations will influence an organization's security posture in the cloud as well. They can affect what it moves to the cloud. Okay, so organizations should take inventory of their data in order to have complete view of what is where. Okay, so as well, an organization must know what degree of security needs to be applied to different category of data. As I have told earlier, that you need to categorize your data, whether is it confidential or non-confidential, or which type of data you are having or you are owing, and what type of cloud deployment model you are opting for. Means you need to assess your security requirement. Okay, means if you are dealing with confidential data, then you will look for this private cloud deployment model. Okay, and if you are dealing with generic data, so in that case you may opt for public cloud deployment model. Okay, so that is basically assess the security requirement. Means how many firewalls you need to deploy over there, what are the various security mechanism. Means multi-layer security mechanism is there, 2-layer, 3-layer security mechanism is there, what are the accessibility constraints. Okay, so that you need to decide regarding this security requirement, and as per the government and industry regulations also. Okay, some approaches to securing data that organizations can consider when performing a cloud readiness assessment include encryption. Okay, encryption is what means while transmitting data from one place to another place, you will use this cryptographic techniques. Okay, identify and access management and web applications firewalls. Okay, so you will assess this security requirement of your cloud. Okay, next is determine timeline and budget. So this is also an important consideration while dealing, because as fast you will develop or as fast you will adopt this cloud, you will get direct advantage for over there. Okay, as per your in comparison to your competitors. Okay, so having a timeline set for when certain milestones need to be hit is important for an organization. So this is in order to keep track of progress being made and reasons for setbacks. So budget must follow the business cases for migrating. This includes the total cost of ownership calculation, the labor involved in migration, licensing cost, migration training, and among other factors. Okay, so that you need to decide whether to include the total cost of ownership calculation, labor involved in migration, means what are the persons that are involved in migrating to the cloud, licensing cost, how much licensing cost are there, and these all are the budget constraints basically. Okay, and what are the means what should be your budget regarding. Means you need to decide the various factors or various overheads of your budget. Okay, and you should allocate fund to those overheads, so that you could smoothly switch to the cloud based environment. Okay, next is timelines and budgets should consider application migration technology. It takes less time for an organization to simply put its application in the cloud with only minor periphery changes. However, it will sacrifice cloud benefits. If the organization is rebuilding one or more applications, then that will make more time but achieve more cloud functionality. As you know that cloud is giving you lot many flexibility and lot many functionality. So if you go for only modify your applications, that will give you a lesser functionality, but it will take lesser time also. And if you want a complete restructure, in that case the time would be the time constraint would be there, as well as, but you will get better cloud functionality. So that is basically this step. So you need to determine that what should be the timeline and what should be the budget, and what is your budget constraint basically, and what are the various overheads that you should taken care of. So these are the various steps of cloud readiness assessments that you need to consider. Okay, so this is all about the cloud readiness assessment steps and basic introduction about cloud readiness assessment. So if you have any query or doubt regarding this topic, you may ask. These are some good references that you may refer for further study. Okay,